Okay, well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is something I've wanted to try to do for almost after every Find Your Focus, is have kind of a follow up and stuff, but life gets in the way and it gets busy. So I want to thank y'all for taking time to do this, and really want to thank Allison and Stephen for agreeing to help out with this. So y'all may know them, may not. Some of you have been on trips with them. Allison has been on 4 FYFs with us. Stephen's been on 3. And both of them have learned to take that time away, that we use as a vacation or as a retreat or just a time to be out in nature. They've also turned it into a viable stream of income and an extra business avenue, which makes it a write-off too. So that's good. So Allison is from South Dakota. You can just, so everyone can see you on the screen, Allison, if you'll just wave. So she's going to share after Stephen, but she's turned hers into some amazing galleries and brought the community together. And it's really impressive what she's done with the images created from these trips. And Stephen, who, unlike a lot of us, is not a full-time photographer. He's actually an academic, a dean at a college, but he gets to travel the world, and he's turned 5-figure sales from selling online. So we're going to let Stephen head us off and start. So Stephen, take it away. And you're muted.
There we go. Awesome. Sorry about that. You'd think I know how to do this stuff. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to share my desktop with y'all. Hopefully are y'all, let's see here. There we go. Are y'all seeing the PowerPoint? I'm going to go ahead and start this thing. I'm going to start it from the current slide. I've kind of turned this presentation into a cottage industry with various PPA affiliates. So if your PPA is looking for a new and unique program, hit me up. Love to talk with y'all about this. Talk with your PPA about it. But as Chris mentioned, I'm an academic dean, and if you saw the background behind me, I'm in my office at Wayland Baptist University in Plainview, Texas tonight. It is a town appropriately named because it is a plain view from where I sit. And I don't have a lot of time to do procurement and website management and handling orders and framing and shipping and customer service. So a few years back, I got involved in print-on-demand sales. I had some folks tell me, "Oh, I love this bear you took." It was in 2012. You see it on the screen there. I was in Banff along the Bow Valley Parkway, and this grizzly bear was eating dandelions. And right along the roadside, got a picture of it. All my friends from Baylor University, Sikkim Bears, said, "Oh, I'd buy that bear." So I have a few friends that were professional photographers and professional artists on Fine Art America. I loaded the bear and a few others on there, and nobody bought anything. It was an early bear market. But I started out on Fine Art America just thinking, well, maybe I'll sell something. And if I do, then I can underwrite travel that I do related to my job. I serve on committees with the Baptist World Alliance. It's a global organization of Baptist denominations. We meet every year in a different part of the world. This upcoming summer, 2023, we're going to be in Bergen, Norway. So I'm already charting out where I'm going to go after the BWA meetings are over with. In Norway, we're going to be in the fjords area there. And I'm already thinking through what images I can take on that trip that I can put on my site and sell. And if you're thinking, print on demand, what's up with sales there? Well, it is a growing market. $13.6 billion in online art sales in 2021. That was up from $7.9 billion in 2020. And by 2030, the projection of online art sales is clearing well past $30 billion. Fine Art America, which is my most profitable online site, and I list on several sites, but I put my emphasis on Fine Art America. Last year alone, Fine Art America had $252.7 million in sales. So people are buying art. It's just a matter of getting your art out there and getting their eyes on it. The market is expected to escalate. Gen Z buying habits are all trending toward buying art and other items with art on it online. COVID has only accelerated that process. Why do I like print on demand so much? Well, I'm very busy as a dean. I don't have a lot of time. And so with print on demand, I don't have to mess with inventory. I don't have a lot of overhead. Everything is outsourced: production, shipping, customer service. And it is a relatively passive income for me. Now, the cons, if you are high touch, high investment with customers, print on demand may leave you a little frustrated because I have no clue who my customers are. All I know are cities where folks bought things, and that's it, unless a customer emails me. In fact, I've actually sold an image to a Find Your Focus alum from here at, it's an image from West Texas. That person had a connection with out near Caprock Canyon State Park in our area. She bought an image for her mother and then emailed me, and we made common connections with Chris and Deanna and PPA and Find Your Focus and all the rest. So sometimes you find out, but that customer touch is not there, and everything is outsourced. So if you are really particular about wanting to see everything before it goes in the customer's hands, you're going to have to level set your expectations with print on demand. Now, I love Fine Art America. It does a good job. The quality is good. And that's where I've made the bulk of my money on print on demand. And I'm just real upfront with folks. This is a passive hobby for me, and I clear anywhere from $20,000 to $25,000 a year just on a side hustle with selling print on demand work. So it works out really well for me. And I tell folks all the time, if I can sell stuff on print on demand, I've seen y'all's work and y'all can do this. It's just a matter of figuring it out. And I love Fine Art America. I figure if Sports Illustrated has decided Fine Art America is the site where they're going to sell reprints of their covers, and the New Yorker uses it, the Beatles uses it, the Saturday Evening Post and Norman Rockwell utilize it. National Geographic sells images on it. If it's good enough for those groups, then it's good enough for my stuff. And so as I look at print on demand sales, I see three things that are really crucial to being successful in the print on demand business. One is figuring out your purpose. Why are you there? If you don't have a real strong purpose or emotion for being there, you're going to have a hard time making this work because it does require a little bit of time investment. Second is the product. What do you want to sell? And third is figuring out your profit. You can tell I'm an ordained Baptist minister. I've got 3 alliterated points, and I may even throw in a poem at the end of this. But on purpose, what's your business fit? Now, for me, I was a hobbyist with a camera hoping to sell a few pictures, and it's turned into a serious business for me. It's made a lot of friend connections for me. It's gotten me involved in PPA, which I never would have dreamed of doing, but moving out to West Texas, meeting Chris and Deanna, getting involved in local PPA stuff, I've loved where this has taken me. But is it a business fit? And this is where, for those of you that run, for example, high-end boutique photography studios, portrait studios, you might want to think through how to do this. I know some folks who will do a completely separate website type business listing for their print on demand versus their studio work. And then they may run everything through a common website where, they may say, hey, if you're interested in art for your business or something, check out my fine art site here. And it takes them over to their Fine Art America account. What's your passion? Is it an artist fit? With print on demand, the great thing is you can choose what you sell. And in a second, I'm going to talk a little bit about products that are available. And then, does it fuel your passion? For me, this was about making some money to undergird ministry, to perhaps pay for some family trips. A couple years ago, when I was able to say to my wife, hey, you want to take our daughter and daughter-in-law and my mom, and do y'all want to go to New York City and see some shows? And I was just able to pay for that trip out of my PayPal account. And it was an awesome feeling being able to do that, because I can promise you, as a dean at a small Baptist university, I am not rolling in the cash. And so to be able to do that for my family, and then also to undergird my photography habit, to buy equipment, it keeps my wife, who is also my CPA, very happy. And so it's a lot of fun. The big thing on print on demand is deciding what you want to sell. Do you want to sell yoga pants, shower curtains, phone cases? And you'd be surprised at the number of yoga pants I sell from Memphis, Tennessee, to people in Germany. Anything that's Elvis related, I'm just waiting to go to Berlin someday and see people walking around in my yoga pants with Elvis stuff, because it's unbelievable the number of stuff that goes over there. Shower curtains. This is a fallout shelter sign that I twisted around. I ran across it in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, shot a picture of the sign, and then just started playing with it with colors, created that mosaic. I know that it's graduation or start of college each year, because I sell bukus of these shower curtains, and I can picture them in frat houses and college apartments and everything across the country. But my goal is to sell wall art, because that's where the big money is. And so everything I do in print on demand is driven toward trying to sell wall art. And I offer my stuff on everything. I'm shameless when it comes to selling my photography on stuff. I'll sell it on t-shirts, yoga pants, shower curtains, coffee mugs, puzzles. Fine Art America, one of the best things they did was puzzles, and I'll sell a boatload of puzzles for Christmas here over the next month and a half. I don't care what it's on. Puzzle money spends like framed wall art money. I don't feel like it devalues my art. And a part of that comes from when I go to the Chicago Art Institute or the Kimball Art Museum in Fort Worth. I don't think they're worried about devaluing a Picasso by putting him on a mouse pad. So I don't mind selling my art on whatever folks are willing to buy it on. And quite honestly, the way print on demand works, the more stuff you sell, it's not necessarily the dollar amount, but the sales begat sales. And there are so many different websites you can get on. I'm not going to take time to go through all these. You can do a Google search and find these various sites. I tend to go with Fine Art America. It has both a free feature and a fee paid feature. And you'll find as you search these sites, whether it's Fine Art America, Redbubble, art storefronts, you could go down the list of these things, Society 6. They're going to vary on whether or not you have to pay to join or it's free to join. On Fine Art America, it's free to join. You can list up to 25 images for free. But for an amazing $35 a year, that's the fee on Fine Art America for the upgraded account. For $35 a year, you get your own personal website. You get a cut of frame sales. If somebody buys framed art, you get a little percentage on that. And I would suggest you go up the algorithm when you're a paid member versus a free member. The fee on Fine Art America also allows you unlimited uploads. And what I've discovered with print on demand, it works counterintuitive. If I were just running a nice photography website for my own gallery, I would and I was selling them myself, I'd probably have, 25 to 30, maybe 40 of my best images on the site and roll with that. And then maybe have other ways to let folks know I have other work. With print on demand, like Fine Art America, the more images you have, the more eyes you're bringing to their website. The more eyes you're bringing to their website, the more likely sales are going to be on the website. So your search in the algorithm starts going up. I have over 3,000 images on Fine Art America. Wow. And I noticed that as I hit 100, my search went up a bit. As I hit 500, up a bit. As I hit 1,000, up even more. And then the other side of it is when you start selling, your search ability goes up as well. It is so counterintuitive on these print on demand sites, but they're all about selling. They don't care if it's my image that sells or one of y'all's image that sells. What they care about is you're bringing people to their website. People are interested in seeing your stuff, and they're more likely to buy it. You know, you do have to pay attention to some other things like how pricing works, what type of products, do they have the products you want to sell? With Fine Art America and most sites, you can opt out of products. You know, I sell everything, but you don't have to sell everything. If you decide you just want to sell wall art and maybe a few novelty items, you can do that. You can customize what you sell on these sites. You know, 4 very popular sites: Fine Art America, Redbubble, Photo for Me, Art Storefronts. Roger, I've included Photo for Me on here particularly for you. And I also list on there because Photo for Me is a UK-based print-on-demand site. And there are a lot of folks that buy wonderful UK-related art off of Photo for Me. It's a moderate upload. It's limited to wall art. If you're really into graphics, or if you have a kid or know a kid that's really into graphic design, Redbubble is a great place to get a kid started with their own business, because high school students, junior high students, grade school students buy stickers like crazy on Redbubble and other graphics related art. And so if you're wanting to teach your kid about business, Redbubble might be for them if they're into graphics. And then Art Storefronts, I think this is the I think Art Storefronts is one of the scams of print on demand. They're going to charge you a boatload of money, north of 4 figures, to get access to their sales information. And then if you want them to build a website, you're going to pay more for the website. And then you're still responsible for printing and shipping and all. They hook you up with sites like Bay Photo, all the places you're familiar with PPA. I stay with Fine Art America because it's much easier, and I'm not going to pay somebody, $1,000, $2,000 when I'm paying Fine Art America $30 and doing really well with them. The other thing you got to do with these print-on-demand sites is figure out your price. And Chris has heard me say this in other settings before. When I first got on Fine Art America, I went with the low-ball competition approach. I realized there's thousands of images of Yellowstone, lower falls at the Yellowstone, or thousands of images from Iceland. So I went with the bonehead idea that I'm going to be the lowest priced image out there, and people will buy mine because they'll look at it, say, that looks great. I want the cheap one. And nobody buys the cheap one. And finally, my wife kept on me and I didn't listen to her. And finally, a friend who on Print on Demand on Fine Art America looked at my site and they just said, "Stephen, you're selling your stuff for too low a price." And their quote to me was, "If you don't value your art, don't expect others to value your art." So I raised my prices. This was about a year into being on Fine Art America. I joined Fine Art America in 2013. And in the summer of 2014, I swallowed really hard and I raised my prices. And guess what happened? I started selling art on Fine Art America. And my wife had been telling me all along, she's a CPA, works for Alcon Laboratories in Fort Worth. And she kept saying, "Stephen, people are going to buy what they like, and they're on this site because they have the disposable income to buy what they want. And if they like it, they're going to buy it no matter what it costs." And she was right. And so I try to price my stuff reasonably well with my talent level and what I feel like comparable artists on Fine Art America are selling for. And it's worked out really, really well for me. A few last things that I'd say: you want to get eyes on your art, and in print on demand, the images that you put up, finding your niche in the print on demand, having eye appeal with the images that you put up. You would be amazed at the number of stuff that's on these print on demand sites that just looks like a Polaroid snapshot. There's not a lot of eye appeal on them. And then those folks get frustrated and complain about Fine Art America because they're not selling stuff. Well, they don't have stuff that's appealing. Eye appeal is really, really important. And so how do you get people to find your stuff? Well, one is the descriptions. All of these print on demand sites, when you load your image in, you give a description to your image. And I like to try to weave a story that is going to connect with the buyer. This is the image that you see on this slide is in Denver, Colorado, Union Station. This is where the famous ski train is that heads out to Winter Park. You can bet I weave the story around Denver, the mountains, the excitement of going skiing, hoping to connect that image with somebody from the Denver area or somebody whose family memories are going skiing out in Winter Park and riding that Amtrak ski train. I want to connect with them and help them see that image in a way that connects with their story. And so that when they have that on their wall, they're thinking about all those wonderful family memories. When you write those descriptions, release your inner Hemingway or J. Peterman. Let it go and use text-rich words that are going to be in your, your key wording. My Grizzly, I put a little story with him. If you're having trouble finding keywords, there are websites that can help you with keywords, like mykeyworder.com.
Emma and I could write those for you easily.
And then you want to tend your site. Keep up with your keywords, create collections and galleries, tweak your image order, add new images from time to time, expand your presence through social media. You want to lean into your friends. For me, I didn't have a studio to start with to sell things. So instead of asking my friends to buy my stuff, I asked my friends to share my website. I knew that I had friends and relatives that would end up buying stuff. What I really wanted to do was get my friends to help share my site and share my story. And they've done an amazing job doing that. And then leverage outside attention. When IPC comes around, you can bet that if I have something that does well, I'm leveraging it on social media and linking it back to where they can buy it on my website. You'll see down there, image available at, and I've got the little hyperlink there, and they can click that link and it takes them right to my sales site. So I'm leveraging that attention. And then you need to expect the unexpected. Iris is up in near Calgary. She may have been to a State and Main restaurant. I think they're headquartered in Calgary. I know every time a new State and Main restaurant is opening because they buy these two images to put in the restaurant. And they buy a whole bunch of other state-related images and sign images that they put in their restaurants. A couple of years ago, I had an image that I put on Fine Art America. It's just this really tightly cropped door from Mission San Juan Capistrano in San Antonio. I got an email from an art dealer in Atlanta, Georgia, Soho Myriad Galleries. It was a general email that said, we're redoing the remodeling and interior design of a 5-star hotel in San Antonio. We're wondering if you would sell us the rights to print and frame 265 30-inch prints of that image. And they gave me a price, and I gave them back a little bit higher price. We went back and forth. I didn't hear from them for a few months. That was in May. In September, they came back and said, are you still willing to sell us that image? And we'll pay you the price you wanted, but we now need 350 of those, or 350, 360. And I said, sure, that's great. They said, we'll get you the contract. When I got the contract, they ordered 435 30-inch prints at the price I wanted that are all in the La Cantera Resort in San Antonio, Texas. How did they find me? They found me on Fine Art America. That company trolls Fine Art America to look for images that work for their hotel installations. And probably my coolest image are bison that I took in Yellowstone. I'll close with this, that are now a part of the signage at the bison range, what used to be the National Bison Range, and now the bison range on the Flathead Reservation in Montana. All because somebody from the tribe saw those bison. It's a really bad crop image, but they like the bison, and now they're on the signs at the National Bison Range. You know, what sells? Memories of home and family, wonders of creation, spiritual and emotional connections, hobbies and interests, room-specific items. You know, you can do this. You just got to kind of put the work in, and it's an awesome way to sell some images. I probably went longer than my 15 minutes, so I'm going to shut up.
Well, we let the Baptist preacher have an open mic. You know,
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm going to let Allison, who's kind of the opposite of Stephen. You know, Stephen mentioned if you're into high touch and direct customer contact and boutique, then this isn't for you. Well, that's Allison has taken that approach with the stuff she's done, and she'll explain more of that. So, and I noticed that you'll have a connection to Sioux Falls. He mentioned Sioux Falls with one of his pictures.
I agree. I was like, wow, when was that? When were you in Sioux Falls?
Yeah. So Allison's right outside of Sioux Falls.
It was, I didn't realize that. It was back around 2014, I believe. I was there for a conference.
Yeah.
Wow.
There was a tornado that went through while I was there, which was really cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
So we're going to let Allison kind of share hers, and then we'll open it up to questions when she's done.
Okay.
Take it
I
away,
love
friend.
that we have two very different approaches so that people get just a gamut of what you could do with the images. So I enter my images in print competition like Stephen does, but most exciting for me is sharing these images with my community. I live in a small community, Mitchell, South Dakota, 15,000 people. We don't have art galleries. South Dakota is very rural, not a lot of culture. It has many wonderful attributes. We have some theater, but just not the kind of access to the arts that you would see in a larger metropolitan area. And especially in my community, very limited offerings, mostly high school kind of arts offerings. So I decided, how could I share these? And sharing them digitally just didn't have that same effect for me locally in my community. I thought, how could I bring my community together? How could I offer an art gallery opening kind of opportunity for folks that maybe don't go to art galleries, or maybe never have been to art galleries, or young people that have never been to an art gallery because they've grown up in South Dakota. Because even in Sioux Falls, which is a larger city, we don't really have any art galleries. And so I actually got the idea from Melissa Welsh, who was on this trip, the very first Find Your Focus that I went on. She did something kind of like this. I think hers was on a smaller scale and more just in a coffee shop type situation. But I just morphed her idea and decided that I would do an art show. I also love holding client events. That's definitely a strong skill that I have with my business. So I thought, how can I make this into a really upscale party? I want to offer hors d'oeuvres and wine and have people go out on a date and come to this. Like, how can I make this really an experience for not only my clients, but my community? So I started working with I partner with a lot of local businesses. I try to use their skills and ideas because I have lots of talented people in my community. And two, I get access to their market. The more exposure I can get for these shows, the better attended they are. They are free. You do not have to pay to come. I hope to sell my work, but that is not my main goal. If I didn't sell a thing, I would still do it because my intentions, my purpose was to share this with my community first and foremost. So I consider it a marketing expense. And it also elevates my status and my skill level in my community by setting me apart from the hobbyist photographers that are around. So I'm going to just jump over to my screen and show you kind of how I walk through this process. So this is, let's just maximize this here. All right, everybody's seeing that okay? So this is the second art show that I've had. So I will be holding my third art show in February. The first two, one was on Yosemite, and the second one was on Yellowstone. I do them about 2 years apart. I travel every year. It's not that I'm not traveling. I am a travel junkie, but creating these events are a lot of work. I do them in first quarter when I'm slow. That's definitely my slowest time of the year. So I have more time to plan them. But it's also a lot of expense. It's all spec. I print all these pieces and just hope that I sell them. I have some hanging in my home. They don't all sell. That's okay. No problem. So this one I try not to have them in my studio. I like to showcase other businesses. So I partner with my friend who's a florist. She owns a florist shop. So she helps me with like the decor. You can see there's some bouquets on the table to the right there. So she helps me with that. I built the lighted easels for the first show, but then I also say, how can I bring foot traffic to another business in the community? How can I benefit the most people possible? I hire somebody to make the hors d'oeuvres. Like, how can I spread that wealth among the most businesses possible? And so this one I held in a coffee shop that is downtown Mitchell, and they have a very cool vintage feel in there. It's an old building that has been restored, which definitely fits the vibe that I go for. So you can see the art on the left. I usually have somewhere between 6 to 8 pieces. I try to spread them around. I want people to migrate and mingle and stop and get drinks and then look around and then visit. Of course, it's a small town. People know each other. So it's really try to create that community feel when they are there. So this is that same building. This is just the front section. This is like one of the little pods that I created. And so those are pieces from Yellowstone. They were just the larger pieces. So I had 3 of them by themselves out in the front area. And then that other section was the back. So you can see these are large pieces. That centerpiece, I think, is probably 50 inches wide, the waterfall or the water running through the rocks. So I don't do small scale. I would never go into an art gallery and expect them to have 8 by 10s or 11 by 14s on the wall. So if you think of doing something like this, I would recommend, if you don't want to go with the big investment of 8 or so pieces that are big and framed and cost, a decent amount to print, I would go with fewer pieces, probably, rather than going with smaller pieces with more quantity. The lighted easels are also very important because it creates a very intimate experience for them. I always do it at night. So I wanted to have kind of that nighttime feel. So that was something that I felt was important. I bought the easels on Amazon for like $29 a piece and screwed the lights onto the easels. These are not fancy. You can do it at many different levels. It's accessible. This is the social media post that I use for the art show. So I start marketing it 4 to 6 weeks prior to the event heavily. Prior to that, I'm usually sharing little tidbits to try to get people thinking about it. So when we were in Iceland in September, I was sharing on social that I was in Iceland doing landscape photography. Folks that follow me, because I've been around for a while, they know probably going to have a landscape art event from this. So I try to start getting them excited, like piquing their interest, because of course they need many touch points to remind them prior to the event. 4 to 6 weeks prior, I also have it on my social media. I create an event on social, on Facebook. I start sharing it on Instagram. And I also mail out printed invitations, cards that I print through Miller's with an image on the card to my clients. So I send out a personal invitation to the people that are clients. I also am sending email distributions multiple times leading up to the event, because those go out to a much broader, I mean, those go out to about 2,000 people. So that's a really good wide distribution. The clients get invitations. I'm going to jump to that next. No, I'm not. That's the sell sheet. Just a second. So this is our actual card that goes out to the clients. I just want y'all to know that that animal right there was shot with a lens that Chris borrowed. He lent it to me and he didn't have a lens, and I got the best shots of this, the elk. It's elk, right? You guys, I don't even know. Is it an elk? Okay.
Just there to help you out. We're there to make
Thanks,
sure you
Chris.
have.
Yeah. So not only do I do the 6 to 8 p.m. I did a public viewing, but I also use it as a VIP touch point for my clients. So I do a private viewing for our client base prior to the art show being open to the public. If I have clients that want to buy the art, they get first crack at it. So they get to come early. The other thing that I do is I have them RSVP, and when they RSVP and attend the show, they get a gift box from me. So for clients only, this is not the public. And so for those clients, last year I did a box that had like a little mini champagne in it, a set of note cards with the images that I had selected that they could use to send out to family and friends, and a gift card for a facial from another business in town that wanted some exposure for her business. So again, like bringing people together, businesses, and also bringing the community together. So this is the card that goes out to the clients. Now, the other thing that I do is the day of the art show, I create what I call a sell sheet. I'm not sure if there's a more official term for it in the art world, but that I do research on the location, and I want to educate and interest people with the show, not only with the art, but learning something new. I call it a tour or an evening in that location, because I want people to sort of go on that journey with me of going to that event or to that location. And so I like to share information. This particular one, I shared about Yellowstone, and I just, some people don't know about these locations. I know Yellowstone is very well attended across the world. Yosemite, maybe not so much, but just told them about Yellowstone, the history of Yellowstone, just some interesting facts to just pique their interest. The other thing that I do with this sell sheet is it tells them information about the art piece itself, how it's printed, the size, the price. But I tell a story about that image. So did we have to get up early? Did we have to hike way in? What did I love about it? What touched me emotionally about that piece? Because I want them to experience it also as if they were there when I was taking the landscape portrait. So I try to share a little bit of information and make the art more of that experience rather than just looking at a pretty piece of art on the wall. So definitely high touch, huh, Stephen? So these pieces, I just have thumbnails so that they can kind of like take their own little walking tour of the art. And then I also tell a little bit about myself on the back side of the sheet, because of course I have some people that come to the art show that don't know who I am. I have had people that drive 2 or 3 hours to come to the art show because there isn't a lot of this in South Dakota. And so that's pretty neat to see how far people come to go to this event. I think that's all I have, Chris. Any
Awesome.
questions? I'm happy to share any of my files that I've created too. If anybody wants to do something like this, I'm feel free to pick my brain after if you need help organizing your own event.
All right. Thank you, Allison. You can stop your screen share.
Okay.
You can see everybody's face. So, and I did record this event. So if you want to rewatch it, I'll post it in the group too. So does anyone have any questions for Stephen or Allison? I was sitting here thinking, I think you could almost do both. You could probably, if you had a Pixel site or a Fine Art America site set up and have an event, and maybe people are interested in this limited edition, one of a kind, hand printed thing. They say, well, if you like this image, you can get it at this other site. Go visit here, and you have other options too. So,
Stephen,
Yes.
when you submit your images, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
When you submit your images to FAA, are they matted or is it just straight full bleed?
Oh, it's straight images, and then folks want to buy mats to put on them, but with Fine Art America, it's a JPEG image. Was it 25 megabytes or whatever it is the size on them, a 25 file. But you can get up to about 28.5, 29 before it kicks it out. Now there's some sites and they do JPEG, PNG, a couple other files. There's some sites that'll let you do an unlimited file size and even do TIFFs. But Fine Art America's JPEG. Now, depending on the file size that you can get uploaded, you can sell prints up to 108 inches on the long side. Last week, I sold a 92-inch panoramic of the Appalachian Blue Ridge Mountains just outside Smoky Mountain National Park to somebody in Nashville. I have sold a 108-inch print before on Fine Art America. Most of the prints I sell are they're like Allison mentioned with the gallery art. They range from 30 inches on up. And during the pandemic, I was selling 60-inch prints hand over fist during the pandemic for folks to get their Zoom rooms up and going.
awesome.
And I would say on Fine Art America with the Pixel site that Chris mentioned, that personal website that you get is through Fine Art America's kind of sister company called pixels.com. And it is all the images that are on my Fine Art America site. But whenever I advertise anything of my own, I always advertise my Pixel site and not my Fine Art America site. Because when folks go to my Pixel site, they're in my swimming pool. All they see is my stuff. If I advertise my Fine Art America account, somebody could go to one of my images, but then I have no control over where they go because then they're in Fine Art America's pool. So I want to keep them in my pool. So I always advertise from my personal website, my Pixels account.
So when you upload, you have to make sure that the quality of the image is
Good.
The digital image is good enough that somebody to order a 108-inch print.
Well, not necessarily. What Fine Art America does with their site, they automatically read. They have an algorithm that with the way they print where they can tell when you upload the print what the maximum size they believe that print can be. And they will not print anything beyond that maximum size. And also if they, say you upload something where the quality is marginal, I wouldn't expect any of y'all to do that, but sometimes we miss a little bit. And if for some reason, I haven't had this happen, but I do know that if they get an order and they go to print it and the print quality is not there, they will notify the buyer that they cannot print that in the size they ordered. So they're not just printing stuff to ship it out. So it'll all depend on what they do. Now, using I shoot with Canon equipment. I use a 5D4 and a 5D SR. I use the 5D SR for daytime landscapes, and with just a single image, not stitched or anything. Typically, the images that are full frame out of that, I haven't cropped them much. I can do up to 84 inches on those on Fine Art America.
So they actually have their own quality control as well.
They do. And they had the other thing with Fine Art America that I like is they have production sites around the globe. So I've sold stuff to Australia, to the Middle East, to Saudi Arabia, to the UK, to Germany. They have a production site in the UK. So if somebody, say for example, in London saw something of mine they liked and wanted to buy it, they're not paying exorbitant international shipping rates to get that image because it's produced and shipped in the UK.
Stay out of my market.
Kevin,
Yeah. Do you guys price by the inch? In other words, if you were to sell an image to someone that walked up to your studio or gallery, do you have a formula for pricing depending on the size?
I do. Yeah, I have a set formula that I've developed, and it's based on the long side.
Right.
So
So
it doesn't
is it-
matter if it's 30 by 10 or 30 by 20.
Right.
If it's a 30-inch print, I have a price for a 30-inch print. And the nice thing on Fine Art America is you get to set every single price point for every single item in
Mhm.
each size. So on prints, there are some sites where you say, I want to make a percentage of the production cost. I don't like that because I scale my prices up. The 8 and 10-inch prints are obviously a lower profit margin,
Mhm.
but then as I go up in size, the pricing escalates.
Right.
how did you determine your pricing, Allison, on yours? I noticed I was trying to look at your image and you had lots of different ranges. Was it framed material, glass? I mean, and you're muted too. You're muted.
That question.
You're muted.
I'm not
Yeah.
anymore.
Okay.
I was trying to be respectful to the people that were speaking. I use cost of goods. I usually try to start in that 10 to 20% range. And then for the art show, sometimes I make a little less profit because I'd rather move the art. It's not like a client where they're going to pay and deliver. I'm not going to get stuck with their artwork. So if it feels a little high to me, then sometimes I'll come down a little bit, especially for the smaller pieces. The bigger pieces, like Stephen said, somebody loves it, they're buying it because of the scale. So the price becomes less important the bigger it gets.
And Allison, when you produce your images for print competition, when you sell those as fine art, you're not including the virtual mat, correct?
Right. I am not.
Okay. So when you produce a competition print, you may do a competition print, save it, and then add the mat to it. So you've got both versions.
So the competition print, I always do my edits on my original resolution file.
Mhm.
So the image that goes for comp is the same that I print,
Right.
just that I've put it into a downsized file for comp.
Right.
But for the images that I'm printing, I'm doing a physical mat or a wrap or a torn edge, like a
Right.
bevel, that decal edge that we can do with the float mount. I'm doing and usually framed. It's pretty rare for me to not do a framed piece for the art show.
What do you think moves best? Is it gallery wraps? Is it frame pieces? I would think frame pieces would move the best, but
So they're all framed, but the medium that they're printed on is different based on the image. I select that based on what the image looks like. I feel like some images really deserve metal, some deserve that Hannah Mule paper, some that are warm and cozy, they need the texture of canvas.
And that's one of the, for me, that's one of the downsides on print on demand, because basically I load my image and then somebody can decide if they want to, you know, any one of several types of paper, matted and frame, canvas, acrylic, metal, wood,
Shower
and then-
curtain.
right, shower curtain. And then
Pants.
I'm kind of amazed at times some of the mats and frames that I see, because I wouldn't necessarily mat and frame them that way, but it makes somebody happy. Now, one thing I did learn from Allison at iHeart last year, I snuck into the back of the conference that Allison and I forget who your partner was.
Cat.
Yeah, Kat, and they were talking about in their session guiding the customer. And one of the things that I've started doing on Fine Art America, I'd done it a little bit, but hadn't really thought about it until I heard their presentation at iHeart. I've started on a number of images making suggestions for mats and frames on it. And I'll put, you know, I love this image with this paper, this mat, this frame. It looks phenomenal. Or the colors in this image just scream metal print, and it will look fabulous on your wall.
That's a great idea. I bet people love that.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
And I would say for those of y'all that, you know, may not want to do the print on demand thing, you know, what Allison does is phenomenal. And I love seeing, I've seen the pictures before of her gallery shows. I would just kind of remind y'all that the folks that are buying those incredible family portraits that you do, they also have businesses where they're probably not going to hang a family picture. And so if you can think in terms of what you do and where you go, that can become art for a medical waiting room that's kind of calm and peaceful, or art for a law office, or you've got clients that are looking for art beyond family pictures, and y'all have the skills and you travel to put it together and make it work.
Stephen, that reminds me of a question I wanted to ask you. As far as your hotel prints, are you letting Fine Art America negotiate initially?
Now, yeah, you do have the option on Fine Art America to get into stock images,
Yeah.
sell to TV shows and those type
Yeah.
things. That's a set price if it goes through Fine Art America. I think
Okay.
they have a deal with ABC. In fact, I have some friends who have images that have been on West Wing and some other things. That was before I got on. I'm really hoping to cash in. I've got a really good friend who's a Emmy award-winning set designer. So I'm just kind of hoping to cash in with her at some point. I have had 2 images on a Warner Brothers show. And that came through Fine Art America, where they bought the stuff and then negotiated directly with me to put it on the set. With the hotel images that I've done and with the sign at the Bison Range, those came where the individuals saw and bought an image. Soho Myriad, I know they mine images off of Fine Art America all the time and then do their mock-ups for clients and then negotiate out. I did my negotiations for that hotel directly with Soho Myriad Galleries.
Interesting.
Do you negotiate the rights for something like Warner Brothers? Can they use that? Can they use those images time and time and time again?
What I did, for example, with the hotel, and it was the first time I'd ever done anything like that. And they had a wonderful contract, and it was for a non-exclusive limited use contract. So they contracted for specifically 465 30-inch prints. There was a clause in there. If they needed to print more, they would pay me X amount for each print more. And then if they wanted to come back and buy more, that was a separate contract. And so I still own the rights. I could have sold printing rights to that to all kinds of other folks with the contract that I did with them. With the Bison Range, that was a little bit different. They asked for exclusive perpetual rights to that image, since it was going to be the centerpiece for the Bison Range signage, entrance and visitor center signs. And some of y'all may know the history of the Bison Range. The U.S. government essentially stole the land from the Flathead Reservation in the early 1900s, paid them pennies on the dollar, forced them to sell the land to create the National Bison Range. The Flathead Reservation, after years of trying to get that land back, was given back control of the National Bison Range last year. And with that, they put up new signage. So what I did for them, and they were very upfront, and I was stunned when they selected my image, but they said, we want to pay you. We don't want this for free, and we want to pay you what it's worth for a perpetual exclusive use license. So I talked with a number of folks, came up with a price, and then I reduced that price by 75% because I felt passionate about what was happening with the Bison Range. I also gave them the rights to use it in media, souvenirs. I gave them, they just wanted exclusive rights for signage. I gave them the ability to put it on whatever they wanted. And I gave them the black and white version as well, as a part of that. And I did negotiate one really cool perk. As long as I'm alive, I get to get in for free and take as many pictures as I want at the Bison Range. So that was my perk I negotiated.
Nice.
Chris could probably testify that negotiating usage rights is a bit of fun sometimes, isn't it?
Sometimes. So Allison, I was going to ask, if an image doesn't sell at your gallery opening, are you putting it in your studio? Do you just kind of try to sell it another way, or does it just go in the pile? And
Right. Actually, I've only had 2 or 3 not sell at both the shows that I've had so far. And so I actually have one in the bathroom at my studio. And then it's not on a main wall just because I want portraits on my main walls. And then I have a couple in my home, and my mom has a couple or one in her home. And
okay,
so I haven't had to deal with that too much. Thank
That's great.
goodness.
That's great. Yeah. So, well, does anyone else have any other questions? So we're about in an hour, which is great. So all I can say is if you want to do either one of these, or maybe a combination of both, the next Find Your Focus is going to be in Yellowstone in the spring. We've only been to the spring once. And if you've been in the fall, I can assure you the spring is 180 degrees different, as you'd expect. Way more wildlife. We had snow and sunshine and rain and snow and sunshine and rain and lots of babies. And so if you're feeling like I've been there, done that, just let you know the spring is a completely different experience.
Shameless plug.
I am hosting. So.
Great to meet you all. Thank you very much. I learned a lot.
Well,
See
thank
you
so
at
much.
Imaging.
Allison, Roger.
And
And guys, good to see you all
if y'all
again.
have questions, contact me. Feel free.
Come and visit.
Good to see
Thanks
Roger.
for staying up with us, Roger.
Dan, good seeing you, friend.
You, Stephen. Allison, good to
Hi,
see
We
you.
have 3
Dan.
Canadians. We have 3 Canadians. Harold and Iris and Adam are here. So
Yeah.
Canada's representing. There you go.
Adam.
I know where that shot of the bear was taken, the grizzly. It's called
Yeah.
Moran's Curve. It's called Moran's Curve, right?
Yeah, it's probably right near there. And it's a grizzly that is regular along that parkway.
Yeah, he's got
Thanks,
a name.
Allison.
Yeah.
He's got a name.
The grizzly had just come out for the season